So it's got a compass, it's got a combination of digital and analog stuff, which I like. Seating position is pretty good. This, of course, is the bike ridden by Itchy Boots, and she rode all over the world on it. In a way, it's kind of nice. It doesn't have power, at least I'm going to find out, but it was kind of cutting off at idle. Familiar turn signals. Those are the Japanese style turn signals that I like. Very antique type of engine. I don't know. Man, this thing doesn't go anywhere. I guess in a way, the whole pure part of riding is this, right? You get a bike that's really not that powerful, and you just have fun exploring things. With a 21-inch front wheel, it's like, why do you need any more? I do like it. But also, if you're the type of guy that wants to rush from riding, you're not going to get a rush with this thing. I mean, this thing barely moves. No gear indicator. Very clunky shifter. What is going on here? I think that guy stalled it. This is a big group. I kind of wish that they would brakes are spongy. It kind of reminds me of like the first gen KLR 650. That guy stalled it. I think this bike is people are really liking these bikes as beginner bikes, and I think there's a lot of beginners in this group. So you got your clock, you got your temperature, your odometer, your trip. You have miles per hour there, which is, I mean, what is happening? It's a very simple bike, but I think Royal Enfield did a pretty good job with it. It does get a little warm, but not too warm. Oh boy. Yeah, this light. I'm in zero gear now, neutral. That's the sweeper. Here, what is mode? What does that button do? There's a non-button here. What? Where's the... What is this, selector? Okay, the selector. It's so hard to push. ABS, you can turn off ABS on this. Oh, these guys barely move. I think the one in front of me is like a 300. This, of course, is like a 500cc. You know, I do like the styling of this bike. There's a lot about this bike that I like, but it's kind of like the Harley. I just don't trust the name. And I've had a couple of friends that had modern Royal Enfields, and they were always breaking. So it makes me not trust it. But if your idea of like just cruising around on a ADV bike, they don't make 500cc ADV bikes unless it's what, like the CB500X. That's a great little bike, and I don't know. I kind of, the only reason to get the Royal Enfield is name, right? Like it's kind of cool to say you got a Royal Enfield. It doesn't sound good to say you got a CB500X, right? It doesn't roll off the tongue. But essentially, if you pick a bike that's 650, the world kind of opens up a little bit more. A Vishram 650, I think, is infinitely better than this. And of course, you got like the Vishram 650 engine. That's much better. I don't know, maybe this engine is great. They were saying that that guy, Fourth Nine, did a review and it claimed that this bike was more reliable because the first oil changed. The oil was the cleanest. And that makes absolutely zero sense, because what does that determine reliability? To me, reliability is if this bike is going to be breaking down in 70 to 100,000 miles, right? It's also, our parts for it super expensive. And I don't know, the Indians, they don't seem to be that good at building bikes that hold up. Full throttle. This is full throttle. I don't know. Why is the gear shift thing not... The gear shifter is not moving now. Very weak. You know, after riding the Scrambler, if your idea of having a Scrambler or kind of like an ADV bike, that one looks way more better, and it's like a retro style. So if your idea of getting a ADV retro, the Scramblers, they have a lot more performance. But in a way, man, this bike keeps me from getting tickets. I mean, it's so slow. I do wish what the hell these buttons were. Like, I have no idea what these buttons are. What does this thing do? ABS. I have no idea. The good thing about this bike is that it's inexpensive. I believe it's like $4,500 to $5,000. If you do not like to break the speed limit, this is the bike for you. But I do like it. You know, I'm bashing it, but I do like this bike. There is a type of rider that would get this. If you're an adrenaline freak and you like to carve the canyons, or maybe have some performance when it comes to motorcycling, then this bike is not for you. But if you just like to putt around, commute, and enjoy the scenery, this is the bike for you. So, okay, now we're passing the sweeper. Such a slow bike, man. And I guess maybe a little bit of an exhaust would improve its mighty roar. I think having friends that have owned Royal Enfields and then had to cancel my ride plans because their bikes broke down makes me not want to get this bike. But I do like it from afar. If I knew the reliability would be good. Japanese bikes has just spoiled me so bad. I mean, my Super Tenere has spoiled me so bad that to get a bike that's questionable. It's a, you know, I'm not saying that this, look, there's the T7, there's the Yamaha's T7, T7, T10, T7, FJR. I mean, this thing. Hey, here's more Yamaha's T7. That was a Harley. It does sound kind of good when you give it gas, but I think being in a small engine. But that's no excuse. My XR650 sounded great. My KLR sounded great. It's kind of neat that you have a compass. But it's awesome. It is really cool. I like it. I think I would buy this in a heartbeat if I wanted a slow bike to kind of go around the world. Look at that. KTM is not here, unfortunately. A very cool bike, very clunky gears. I think it's a little bit rougher than Harley. That's the thing with the Japanese. They're so smooth. Their engineering is just incredible. Then you hop on one of these and you're like, oh, it's a little bit rough around the edges. Lots of bikes out here. Alright, that is the Royal Enfield, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. It just doesn't want to move. This is not the way you would ride this thing. This thing does not enjoy. But the beautiful thing about this bike, it's got a 21-inch front wheel. It's got bash guards stock, so if you ever drop it, it seems like it's very light. I would actually be very comfortable riding this thing